Welcome back to Itali-Echo, Boston's only Italian-American bilingual show. This is your host, Viviana Dragani, and today my guest is Norman Schwartz, author of the book All Things Small. Hi, Norman. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. So first of all, may I ask you, where are you calling from?
I live in the La Latina barrio of Madrid.
Oh, amazing, amazing city. So, tell us more about your new book, All Things Small, about the characters and why is it set in Rome, Roma?
Well, back in the 1960s, I was working in Hollywood for Columbia Pictures, and I heard that Columbia was doing co-productions in Rome with De Laurentiis and other people. And I thought, I've always wanted to live in Rome, live in Italy. And so I went on my own and got a job working on American films being shot in Rome. And I stayed for almost 10 years. And in those 10 years, I only went back to the United States for a few weeks. So I suddenly became Italian.
Wow. So if you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Well, the younger self, when you get to be an old man like me, you have to divide your life into many younger selves. I grew up in Greenwich Village in New York City, and I guess I grew up during the Second World War, when Greenwich Village was really a wonderful melting pot. We had the beautiful brownstone apartments between 6th and 5th Avenue, but we also had the cold water flats where the starving artists live. And then south was Little Italy. And so everybody lived together. I went to public schools. And so you met very rich people and you met very poor people. You met immigrants. And it gave me my first flavor of what Italy might be. Of course, when I got to Italy, it was completely different. But still, there was something about the Italian character that absolutely captivated me. And what was so interesting about living in Italy was that if you grew up as I did in Greenwich Village, most of the Italians were either originally from Calabria or Sicily, or Napoli. And they were so unlike the Romans. So it was as if you went to a different world. It was completely different. So I had to live alla Romana. But I had my beginnings in Greenwich Village. And needless to say, Viviana, the menu was so different, because when we grew up in Greenwich Village, there was such a thing as every Italian restaurant had spaghetti and meatballs that you never found in Rome. The dish we also loved, which I think was Sicilian, was melanzana alla parmigiana, which is a typical Sicilian dish. No one in Rome served those dishes. So not only was it an education in living, it was an education in eating alla Romana. And of course, as I began to travel around Italy, one discovered that if you went to Firenze or you went to Venezia or you went to Milano, everywhere you went, there was not only a different cuisine, una cucina, but people were different. And I found that absolutely fascinating. And so I decided to write a book about this. How different Rome was back then and what it was like to be a straniero, in my case, a young American, coming to a world that was completely new and discovering life in the Italian manner, alla Romana.
Wonderful. Thank you, Norman. So your world travels and years in film in America and abroad. How has that changed you? And how has your writing progressed over the years?
Well, let me say this. I was very lucky because I made my living as a film and a sound editor. And so I learned the language of the screenplay. And when I began writing my novel, I thought, people don't read the way they did before television. And so I thought, is it possible to combine the pulse of the screenplay, the rhythm, the action, the dialogue, with what a novel can do? For example, the one thing we cannot do in film is to make you smell. The wonderful thing about the novel is you can describe all the great smells that you have in a city like Rome, the flowers, the food, and whatever it is. So I found that I'm trying to combine the pace of a screenplay with the tremendous canvas that you have in a novel, because you can write about 20 people in a novel. You can't do that in a screenplay. So the novel gives you a tremendous spread of what you can write about and the people you can write about. So
Right.
When I was in Rome back in the 1960s, I discovered that there were so many different aspects of life. There were the people who went and stayed in the five-star hotels on the Via Veneto, and there were the poor people in the quartieri where I lived, and there were a tremendous mixture. And so I thought, when I wrote this book, which is not autobiographical, I thought, what if I brought together all these people? The people who worked at Cinecittà, the people on the Via Veneto, the poor artists, expatriates who were living in pensiones near Piazza di Spagna. And the great fun was to imagine what would happen if all these people who normally don't mixed in the life of my protagonista. So that is really how it all came about. It was great fun because I invented things that I'd never lived.
So are you a bit like your main character, Nathan, in All Things Small?
Well, I think, was it Flaubert who, when was asked who Madame Bovary was, said, "C'est moi," that every character is a little bit of me. My protagonist is a young American, very naive. I don't think I'm quite as naive as he was or was. But it's an aspect of being young and inexperienced. And then I thought, what would happen if my protagonista, got involved with the Mafia, or got to work on a film at Cinecittà, or met a group of intellectuals, Italian intellectuals who are always of the left, so there's a bit of me in all of those characters.
Great.
That's the fun of writing. That's the fun of writing a book.
So where can our audience purchase your amazing new book?
I don't know the date, but I know that it will be available on Amazon and on Kindle, in hardcover, soft cover, and of course as an ebook. But the exact date, I'm afraid I can't tell you at the present moment. But we're very close.
You're very close.
Publishers come. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Norman Schwartz, for joining us today on Itali-Echo.
Thank you very much, Viviana.
Thank